In this video, we're going to learn how to change HTML content and attributes using jQuery. First, we're going to be using the same source code showing our three divs, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft. All right. And the objective of this session is to create a few buttons. And when we click on those buttons, we'd like the content of these divs to change. All right. So let's start with Facebook and create a button that will change the content of Facebook. So we're going to create a button just after the Microsoft div. All right. Let's write some text there. So change Facebook, and I want to change the text here. So you're going to say change Facebook text, and let's give it an ID. Change Facebook. All right. So let's go inside our document ready function to write our jQuery code. So first of all, we need to access the button and say in the event of clicking on the button, we're going to access Facebook and change the contents of Facebook. Okay. So the syntax is, so we need a selector for the button using its ID. So it's change Facebook. And then the event here is click. And we're going to need to put everything between parentheses. And it's going to be a definition of a function. And the code of the function is going to be between curly brackets. So we need to access the Facebook div. So you're going to use the selector of the ID of Facebook, which is Facebook. And then we're going to use a method here. It's text. And it needs one parameter, which is going to be a string. So how this method works is going to take this parameter, and whatever we put between the quotes is going to replace the content of Facebook. So basically the content of Facebook is everything between the div tags, which is what we just highlighted. All right. So let's try, for instance, this is Facebook. And let's see what happens. So you can see there that once we clicked on the button, the content has just changed. And this is showing exactly the same HTML code here. The only thing that changed is that rather than having the paragraph and a span in it, we just have some text there, which is between whatever is between the quotes. All right. Okay. Now we're going to try something else. We're going to create another button, and we want that button to change the content of Apple. And this time we will change the content using some HTML code. All right. So we're just going to copy paste the same code. So this time, so we need to access another button that will change Apple. So let's create that button. I'm going to call it change Apple. And let's say here change Apple HTML, because we're going to be using some HTML code to replace the content. Okay, so change. So we're accessing change Apple button, and the statement is going to be accessing the Apple div. And rather than using the text method, this time we're going to use another method. It's called HTML. So what this method is doing is going to be taking a parameter, and inside the parameter we're going to be writing some HTML code. So that HTML code is going to replace whatever HTML code is between the div tags of the Apple div. Okay, so let's try something like this. So for example, let's try, this is Apple. That's one paragraph. Let's add another paragraph. For example, new iOS available. And let's close the paragraph. So now we're expecting this HTML code to replace the content of the Apple div, which is this. Okay, let's save and refresh the page, and now let's click on the button, and we can see that the content of the Apple div has just changed to our couple of paragraphs. All right. Okay, now we're going to try something else. We're going to create an input. Okay, just there. And we are going to create another button that will change the value of the input. So let's create the input just before the buttons. So let's put it inside the paragraph. Okay. Okay, we need to add another statement here. So we're just gonna copy paste the same statements. So this time we're going to access another button. So let's create another button. Let's have an ID for the button. Change input. Change input value. All right. So change input. We have only one input there, so we can just use the input type. And now we're going to use another method. It's called val. So what this method is going to be doing, it's going to be taking a parameter. So again, it's a string. So it's going to be taking the value of the string, and it's going to be replacing the value of the input by the string there. So if we use, for example, Sam, let's add some text just before the inputs. So for example, enter your name. Okay, and now let's refresh the page, and if you click on the button, so we can see that the value of the input has just changed to the string we have used there. All right. Okay, now we're going to see how to change the attributes of links. So we're going to be creating a link inside the Microsoft div, and we're going to write some code so that we can click on a button and change the href of the link. All right, and also we can change the title of the link as well. So let's go for that. So first of all, let's create a paragraph inside the Microsoft div. So it's going to be another paragraph there, and inside the paragraph let's have a link. So let's have an href for the link. So http:// let's go for microsoft.com, and also let's have a title, Microsoft, and also let's give it an ID, and let's go for Microsoft's link. Okay, Microsoft link. Okay, let's add some text there. Okay, so now let's write some jQuery code. So we're going to be accessing the button that will change the Microsoft link. So first let's create that button and call it change Microsoft. Okay, change Microsoft. Okay, so we're accessing the button by its ID, so change Microsoft, and the event is click. All right, so everything goes between parentheses, and that's where we define our function. Let's close the curly brackets, and now we need a statement where we access the Microsoft link. So we need a selector using the ID of the link, so Microsoft link. Okay, and then we're gonna use another method here to change the attributes of the link. It's the attribute method. Okay, so let's pay attention to the syntax. It's ATTR. All right, and then the method is going to be taken as a parameter, something between curly brackets, okay, and we can put as many parameters as we want, okay, so we can go for 1, 2, and more. So the syntax is going to be a parameter between quotes, followed by colon, and then between quotes we're gonna put the value of the parameter. So let's change the href first. So we're gonna change it to something else. So we're gonna go for http :// let's go for the Google homepage, okay. And then to add another parameter, we use a comma, and this time we want to go for the title. Okay, let's change the title to Google. So we're changing here both the href and the title. So let's try this. So now if we hover on the Microsoft link, we can see that the title is Microsoft, and if we click there, it's going to take us to the Microsoft webpage. Now if we click on the link and we check, the title is Google now, and also if you click there, it's going to take you to the Google homepage. All right.